This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening. A man will spend Christmas in hospital after a brutal brawl left him unconscious outside a Tasmanian pub. Police have charged another man with assault, alleging he threw several punches to the man's head.
Police say the fight took place in front of shocked patrons here at the Lagana Tavern. Two men, known to each other, began a heated argument. Police allege a 58-year-old then threw multiple punches at the other man's face until a knockout blow left him unconscious on the ground.
And as a result of either the strike or the fall, he's received brain injuries and he's been taken to the Royal Hobart Hospital where he's receiving treatment. The
47-year-old remains there in a critical but stable condition.
There was friends and family there, I believe, at this function, and they witnessed a terrible event.
In a statement, the venue's management says it is devastated by the incident, offering support to the victim's family while condemning violence as inexcusable. As the year winds down for many workers across the state, police are pleading with partygoers to be responsible.
Split-second decisions can have huge consequences.
Anyone with more information can contact Crime Stoppers. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
A 63-year-old man has had his car seized after blowing nearly 5 times the legal limit at Turners Beach last night. The Devonport man was also a disqualified driver with a history of drink driving convictions. A motorist tipped off police after seeing the man driving erratically.
We really appreciate when the average driver, the mums and dads out there and that see bad driving behaviour and report it to us, and in this case we were able to find that person, charge them and get them off the roads.
Police have now charged 27 people across the state for drink driving in the past 2 days as part of Operation Crossroads. Meanwhile, police have airlifted a 16-year-old trail bike rider to the Launceston General Hospital with suspected spinal injuries and lacerations to his face. Police say he was riding on sand dunes near Bridport when he crashed just after midday. His condition is not being treated as life-threatening. As many of us are preparing for a big day of presents and eating, our state's church leaders are urging Tasmanians to remember the true meaning of Christmas. They're preparing for thousands of worshippers to take part in services tonight and tomorrow.
A traditional Christmas Eve morning service. Hobart St Mary's Cathedral packed with worshippers. Archbishop Julian Porteous reminding Tasmanians to take time to reflect on the season's true meaning.
It's a time for family, but also it's probably a time too when people are aware of their own struggles and difficulties and think, what is life about? What are the things that are most important? And I think the great thing about Christmas is that simple sense that God has not abandoned us.
The Dean of St David's Cathedral sharing a spiritual message with a political twist.
We want people to turn from fake news to the really good news of Christmas. We have been hearing a lot about how we make Christmas great again in the papers, but really it's about looking at Jesus, who was born to be the King and our Saviour, and that's the way that we make Christmas great again. And it's really, really good news for our world and for our hearts.
Both leaders saying 2017 has been a difficult year, emphasising the difficulties their faiths have experienced with the same-sex marriage debate and the recent Royal Commission. Both are now looking forward.
Certainly the Anglican Church in Tasmania is seeking to put the recommendations of the Royal Commission into action. We already have safe church communities. We use the Working with Vulnerable People's card. All our leaders are trained. So we're seeking to do the best we can, and we want to make redress where possible.
As Christians, you know, both of them have had big significance. The first one is our own failures. And so we need to be honest and recognise, and we really want to work hard now to make up for the loss of trust that's happened in the church.
Young worshippers from St John's in Launceston putting on a special performance, all in the Christmas spirit. Churches around the state expecting thousands at their services tonight and tomorrow. Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
State's major shopping hubs have been packed with those getting in for some last-minute gifts today. This seafood shop in Launceston showing its popularity with the line reaching out the door earlier today. Other retail institutions saying this season's spend is crucial for business.
It's that critical that we absolutely have a really good summer because, to be honest, it pays for the whole of the rest of the year. So I often say I'm like a farmer, you do all the hard work before times and then you're just trying to really make it all work over that period of time.
Christmas time is a fantastic time of the year. Everyone's happy and positive and it really is a vibrant time. You can tell it in people's moods. It's very uplifting.
Gift buying this Christmas is expected to boost the nation's economy by $11 billion. While some find it stressful cooking for their own family, an army of volunteers have spent the day preparing to host hundreds of people for community Christmas lunches.
A special Christmas delivery. Stacking bags full of food and gifts. A Christmas stocking for those wanting company tomorrow. More than 100 volunteers have put this together, including children who crafted the table numbers and created bonbons.
We've had another organisation called Paws Up who actually provide gifts for pets, which is just fantastic.
Colony 47 is expecting 400 guests at Hellenic House.
We're a non-denominational organisation, so everyone's included, and it really gives you an opportunity to come along, spend some time with people, share your stories and enjoy the day.
Volunteers are also preparing to host hundreds in the Albert Hall. On the menu is more than 100 kilos of vegetables, 70 kilos of turkey and 80 chickens.
20 kilos of mayonnaise just to make the coleslaw, so there's massive amounts of things here.
Now in its second year, the Launceston City Community Christmas is proving to be a vital link for those alone at this time of year.
One in particular who I know is from a fairly broken background. If he wasn't here, he doesn't know what he'd be doing at Christmas time. He would be home alone with nothing but misery, essentially.
Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Tasmanians are being urged to spare a thought for those doing it tough this Christmas, with the state's only men's crisis accommodation full. Hobart's Bethlehem House can provide shelter for 34 men, but staff say they're turning away over 20 every evening. They're holding out hope for funding to provide upgrades to modernise the 1973 facilities.
For people like Lee, Christmas can be a tough time of year. He hasn't spent it with family in over a decade.
A lot of time people see that you put on a brave face, but they don't see that you're sitting there in your bedroom and you're crying and wishing that you could just have family around. And
thankfully, the 45-year-old is part of a family at Bethlehem House. His previous lonely Christmases now a memory.
They put on a good show and a good feed.
Probably over 80% of our gentlemen have no family who will be in touch with them, no family to spend the day with. So, the guys it becomes a real community for them and they tend to support each other through what is a pretty lonely time for them.
Lee has been dealing with alcohol addiction and mental illness for years. He says without the security of the men's shelter, he wouldn't be around to tell his story or pursue his dream of starting his own business.
The dream hasn't come true yet, but at least I'm in a safe environment now and trying to work on things.
And once people do have to come here and come through our doors, it's usually because they've lost everything and we have to help them start again.
Lee's story is one of many, with 34 men staying every evening. But many miss out, usually turned away to sleep on the streets after being given a blanket and some food.
We've been full for 5 months. We have a wait list of about 22 people at the moment, but we can only house those that we've got a bed for.
The organisation's CEO says it's heart-wrenching having to turn desperate people away from the only crisis men's accommodation in Tasmania.
I believe that homeless men's crisis accommodation services are next on the list for investment funding so that we can have upgraded fit-for-purpose facilities.
But for now, they're urging Tasmanians to spare a thought for those less fortunate this Christmas.
You make the right choice, you do the right things will come back to you.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
Hurricanes import Hayley Matthews says the Christmas break couldn't come at a better time for the struggling side after dropping their 4th match in a row yesterday. The West Indian is adamant morale is still high among the group despite the horror start to the season.
Matthews found herself on the end of an unfortunate run out in yesterday's loss to the Sixers and was feeling slightly bashful about the avoidable wicket, which saw her innings done on just 5 runs.
What we need to do is just work on our communication a bit and just not let it happen again, I guess.
Only half the squad returned into Hobart today, with some staying on the mainland for the short season break.
I actually think the Christmas break came at a perfect time, actually. Just being able, like I said, to go home, recuperate, get back in a really healthy frame of mind and just be ready to come back again.
With batting collapses a reoccurring theme for the Canes, not one player could notch more than 20 runs yesterday, something the squad and coach Julia Price are desperately trying to fix.
The main problem was probably just us not executing. I think once we can tick that box and be able to go out there and execute our plans well, that's when we'll really start to perform.
The side resumed training in a few days' time ahead of their December 30 clash against the Thunder at UTAS Stadium.
We're still in really high spirits in the camp. Julia just tries to keep motivating us as much as possible and keep looking at the positives that we take out of every game rather than the negatives.
One of the country's rising young tennis stars is the latest addition to the Hobart International, with 18-year-old Jamie Flores earning herself a wild card into the main draw. The up-and-comer, who's currently ranked world number 271, made her French Open debut this year, pushing former world number 1 Caroline Wozniacki to 3 sets. Flores also has a wild card into the 2018 Australian Open and joins Elise Mertens, Alizé Cornet and Eugenie Bouchard on the Hobart International lineup, which gets underway on January 7. Former Hawthorn recruit Zach Webster will be hoping to have an injury-free 2018 in the Tasmanian State League, with the gun midfielder and small forward recommitting to the Glenorchy Football Club for next season. Webster was only able to play a handful of games for the Pies in 2017 due to an ongoing hamstring problem, but still impressed with limited game time. He joins RACT Player of the Year Jay Bowden in the squad, who also recently re-signed for next year.
Good evening. Hobart 19 today, Launceston 21, Burnie 20 and Devonport 21. A mostly fine Christmas Eve statewide, St Helens and the Beaches 21, Lowhead, Maria Island and Flinders 19, 18 for Bushy Park, Strahan and King Island, 12 was the top for Lyowini, and Mount Wellington still managing a 0 overnight. The satellite has picked up some cellular low-level clouds streaming across the state today. Isolated thunderstorms still present in northern Australia, and the rest of the country is mostly cloud-free for Christmas Eve. Up closer, the low-level cloud is streaming from the west, breaking up as it hits the Central Plateau. For Christmas Day, we have a high-pressure system approaching Tasmania from the northwest, bringing some warmer temperatures. An inland trough will pass through Victoria, New South Wales and Central Australia until it hits Western Australia. On our waters, south to southwesterly winds to 15 knots, reaching 30 knots about the south early morning, seas to 3.5 metres in the west and south. There's a strong wind warning current for lower eastern and southeastern coastal waters from Wineglass Bay to Southeast Cape. Our Christmas Day forecast is showers for Hobart and Ooze 21, Dover showers 19. Mostly sunny in the north with Launceston 24, Scottsdale 22, Devonport 21, Burnie sunny with 20, Stanley 21, Strahan morning showers 19. And St Helens sunny 22, Swansea cloud increasing in 22, Ross 24. The UV tomorrow is very high for all areas. The 3-day forecast starts with Boxing Day. Morning showers in the southeast, elsewhere partly cloudy with northeasterly winds. Wednesday morning showers in the northeast, partly cloudy elsewhere. Thursday, temps in the north and south expected to hit the high 20s, with showers making conditions humid in the north. And around the country tomorrow for Christmas Day, Perth sunny 32, Adelaide sunny 29, Darwin 30 with storms, Melbourne fine 22 and Sydney showers with 23. And currently in Hobart, 16, partly cloudy, Launceston 20, partly cloudy, Devonport 17, partly cloudy. Wishing you all an amazing Christmas. But now, for a very, very important story. Back to you, Rach.
Thank you for that, Candice. Yes, before we go tonight, we do have some breaking news from the North Pole. We've been told that Santa has left his base and is on his way to Australia to find the homes of the children who have been very nice this year. His flight path has clear skies and he's on track to arrive in Tasmania tonight. So boys and girls, make sure you leave a treat out for Rudolph and then go to bed nice and early. Well, that's it from Southern Cross News for now. Thanks for joining us. On behalf of the entire news team, have a safe and enjoyable Christmas. I'm Rachel Williams. Thanks for your company. Good night.